Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Real Raw and Uncut. So the reason for the title is because everything that we'll do here is highly unedited. It's done live and taken in one shot. And the purpose of this channel is for us to have a conversational dialogue, hence the reason why it's highly unedited for the most part. And on this channel, we'll be reviewing some of the world's greatest books. We'll be reviewing some articles, perhaps some movies, and occasionally some interesting films and series. Okay, so we're gonna continue the book we've been talking about, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. And specifically for today, we will be looking at pages 91 to about 134, 135. So the next 45 pages of where we last left off. Okay, so I did take just a few notes so that we can have a conversation. And not much took place in these next 45 pages. For the most part, it seemed like a lot of mundane routine. And so after Katie gave birth to her first child, Francie, within a span of 4 months, she was pregnant with her second child. She didn't realize that. So she was unable to breastfeed, and she thought for some reason that some spell or magic had been done on her, back in the old days. Rather than believe in medicine and sciences, some people still carried superstitious beliefs. So she went to a midwife who gave her some antidote, which didn't work. And then she ended up finding out that she was pregnant with another child. This caused her husband, Johnny, to be extremely worried, but he handled her second pregnancy a lot better than he did her first. And she ended up giving birth and naming the child Neely. So Neely became his name. Her husband, Johnny's drinking problem continued, and Katie tried helping him by locking him up in the room. To which, of course, he was experiencing withdrawals. He started to scream and cry. And then she had to get her sister, Sissy, involved to calm him down. And that worked to some degree. And Sissy told her, look, this is the guy you married. He has this problem. I don't think it's something that can be remedied. So it's something that you're just going to have to deal with because everyone is wired a certain way. So that was the advice that her sister gave her. So now here, Katie takes up a job as a janitress in order for her and her family to have a home to live. Her husband did not want her to work as a janitress, and she was like, it's either this or we don't have a place to live. So she took up a job as a janitress, and the agreement that she got from the landlord was as long as she kept the place clean and did some housework around the place and other areas, she could have that place to stay. And so the second home they moved to was Laurie Street. Okay, so Katie continued the ritual of reading a page of Shakespeare and a page of the Bible to her children, given that her mother, Mary, had advised her that if you want your children to succeed in America and attain the American dream, it's important that they keep on reading and they go to school. And so she kept doing this. So this resulted in Francie developing an unusual vocabulary and utilizing certain words that children in her neighborhood deemed as unusual and something that was not in your vocabulary or lexicon. So Francie did get picked on as a result of this, and she almost got into a fight with a girl. As a result, her mom told her not to let herself get beaten down by being picked on and to learn to stand her ground. So we see here that essentially she's interacting with people from her neighborhood, exploring the world around her, meeting people with differences. And also, Katie allowed her eldest sister, Sissy, to interact with her children. Sissy loved children because she could not bear children by herself, but she was seen as someone who was careless and carried on multiple relationships which did not end up working out. So this resulted in one day, Sissy, Katie's eldest sister, leaving a pack of cigarettes, which Francie and Neely played with. And then Katie came, she saw the pack of cigarettes and essentially said that she doesn't want Sissy around her children anymore. And she told her husband, she's a bad influence. I don't want her around her kids. She's a nice, wonderful nurturing person, but as our daughter is growing, we want her to have good influences around her. So that was the agreement that she and her husband essentially made. And then they ended up moving into a third house. This one was bigger. The previous owner left the piano, which Katie's husband, Johnny, played on. He used the piano to play music and to sing because he's naturally talented at that. But again, his drinking problem gets in the way, and he feels like he's a failed musician, and he's now found ways to make this dream happen on a big scale. So he plays on the piano, and Katie and Francie and Neely really enjoy listening to him sing. She still keeps working as a janitress in order for her family to have some kind of sustenance to live on. All right, so that's practically all that happened in these 45 pages. It was pretty mundane. There wasn't much that really happened or transpired. With that being said, I did jot down some interesting words that I thought the author made good use of. So one of the words is capacious, which means having a lot of space inside. So something that's roomy, spacious. Another word is commiserate, and this means to express or feel sympathy or pity. Let's see. What's another interesting word? Impotence, which means helpless, lacking power, strength, or vigor. Grotesque is another interesting word here, which means a very ugly or comical, distorted figure, creature, or image. So something that's malformed. Precocious here, which means it's usually referring to a child who has developed a certain ability or proclivities unusually at an early age. And then in lieu of, you can think of a synonym for in lieu of, can also mean instead of. Unabated, which means without any reduction in intensity or strength. All right, so these are my thoughts and opinions of what I essentially found interesting in these 45 pages. I think some themes that really popped out and stuck out to me here were just childhood exploration, family dynamics, children playing and exploring the world around them. So really not much for these like 45 pages 91 through 135. If you have your own opinions about what you thought was interesting, some things that you agree or disagree about what I said, something that stuck out to you, please be sure to put it in the comment section below. Again, this is a conversational channel, so I want us all to be having a dialogue. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today for episode 3 of Real, Raw, and Uncut. If you want to reach me, I'll put my email in the comment section and the description of this video as well. Feel free to message me if you have any recommendations, any other books that you'd like us to take a look at in the future. I'm all open ears. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Peace.